Yo, what's up guys, it's Alex Rome, and today I'm going to show you how to edit your vocals to sound perfect, literally to sound perfect and professional and clean. And yeah, it's very simple, and I'm going to show you all the plugins that I like to use, give you some options if you don't like to spend money on plugins, for plugins that you could use for free. To do this, and show you some cool things to do. But basically the vocals I'm going to show you how to get, and the sound I'm going to show you how to get. So these are already mixed vocals on this little track. The track is dry, it is not mastered, so only thing you're going to hear is not really a finished product as a whole, but these are mixed, these vocals.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship. Don't know if it's gonna go anywhere from here.
Alright. So, this is just me and my girlfriend in our room, drinking some beers, singing some songs. Very first thing you could do is either compression or auto-tuning. When I say auto-tuning, I don't mean like some T-Pain, Lil Wayne rapper shit where it's obvious, although there are circumstances where that's cool and nice. For this case, you're not going to put that on these female vocals here with this chill track. So what you do is you throw an auto tuner on your vocals to and use it very, very lightly, and what that does is it just helps keep her pitches in line. So when you add like soft like mild settings, so like to give you an example, in this auto tuner, very similar to Logic's auto tuner, if you don't, obviously not a lot of people have this because you have to pay for this one, but if you're going to use an auto tuner and you want to use it for free, go down to pitch and then go to correction, and they both do the same thing. They both they look different, but they have similar controls, as do similar plugins in any category like EQ, shit like that. So what you do with your auto tuning plugin is you have to find out what key your vocals are in and what key your song's in, and then you have to set your auto tuning plugin to that key. So in this case we're in B major. What the fuck's B? Oh, there we go. And then you want to make your response like a little more in the middle. A response at this rate would sound like T-Pain auto-tuning or like crazy mumble rap auto-tuning. That doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't sound good. But if you actually make your response time slower in auto-tuning, that just literally helps your vocalist sound better. Not all vocalists need auto-tuning, but most do. Vocalists who are on the radio, the best in the world, a lot of them use auto-tuning, so don't be afraid to use auto-tuning. So here we go, we got our B major set up on our auto-tuner, and our note transition time, like I said, we're not going to go super quick here. We're going to go at a slower rate of speed that is not too slow, obviously.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied.
And alright, I got an EQ there. Didn't mean to do that. But next thing I'm going to do is compression. So when you're compressing vocals, have fun with it. Don't try too hard to make anything sound like something crazy. What I like to do is get crafty with my compressors now. I like to use an analog compressor first, aka a compressor that's based off of a very popular compressor from from like the 60s and 70s, I believe. It looked like this, but it was a hardware compressor used on the Beatles songs, was used on a lot of like classic rock songs, and that's just what made me obsessed with it. And basically it just is like kind of a nerdy thing, but you get like a really unique, it's like a unique compression sound. It's not just your basic clean compression.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship.
And so what I do is I get that compressing a little bit, and then I go ahead and load up another compressor I use a really strong hard-working compressor. You could use Logic's compressor in place of this one, and in place of the Puig Child. You could actually use 2 Logic compressors if you want, but with compressors, how it's going to work is you have your threshold always.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lie.
And so you want to like look at your peaks. So we have like a sharp peak there, a little bit of a peak there, and you're using your compressor to kind of flatten those.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied.
You don't want to go too hard. I notice what happens is
he's trying to meet me on the east side.
Sometimes when you go too hard, the breaths, like that little breath you just heard, gets really loud. And I don't like to go that hard.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
Because what you're doing is you're literally flattening the vocal so much that everything in between, like the breaths, the little mouth movements, like shit like that, gets like really loud and obnoxious. So don't compress vocals too hard. You get like a nicer sound either way. And something I like to do is put my attack and release as quick as they could go, because then this distortion comes out and it sounds unique and different. You know, it's not the just standard clean compression.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship.
And so basically we're going through the Puig Child, and then we're going through Fab Filter's compressor, which is my favorite compressor in the world because it works hard, and the interface doesn't get better for an interface. Next thing I like to do is a de-esser. I used to use Logic's de-esser again. I actually used to use all Logic plugins, which Logic plugins will get a good sound, but I think you could get better sounds with third-party plugins. I'm a firm believer that investing in plugins steps up your sound a whole lot. But anyway, next thing I like to do is a good old de-esser plugin. I don't use Logic's anymore because I don't know if it was just my version of Logic or just my de-esser plugin. It had this bug where every time it de-essed, it spread the S's and they would shoot into your ears like the S's. So instead of like compressing the S's, it would shoot the S's into your ears, like literally like make this wide stereo sound every time the S's happen. And the point of a de-esser is to make the S's go away, not become emphasized by some stupid shit like that. So what I did is I invested in the Pro DS plugin by Fab Filter, my favorite plugin in the world. With any de-esser plugin, you want to find out where your S's are strong. Male vocalists and female vocalists do have different ranges where their S's are strong, and different tones, like baritones. Like, doesn't really matter. I guess it's not really a tonal thing. It's more of like how their teeth sit in their mouth and how they make S's that decides where the S's are going to like blare. So in this case, I'm just going to open up this range here and see where it's going to tell us the S's are hot.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
So like right here, I'm noticing was like the hardest yellow. So I'm just going to focus this on that. Maybe get a little bit.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
See, there's a little bit of S's kind of going all the way up through 20K. And so I'm going to just leave that band a little wider. And I'm going to just tell my de-esser to suppress the S's at X amount every time they happen. And we're going to do this with the threshold.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship.
I like Pro DS because it works hard on all the hard letters, not just the S's. So anytime the mouth comes together with a P, a B, an F, an S, a T, anytime the mouth like makes contact and that hard letter impact happens, this de-esser works hard at taming that. What I like to do is I like to use 2 de-essers de-essing the S's sometimes, especially in this one because her S's are so freaking loud. I don't know like why. I don't know if this is like normal, but her S's are just so loud.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's...
And you can see the green is every time this is working on an S.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
And that's why I like Fab Filter plugins so much. This is not an advertisement either. That's why I like their plugins so much, because you can literally see everything. You can just see everything, and that's great. Like in Logic's de-esser, you can't see that sort of stuff. Alright, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to use one more de-esser. However, this one's not for the hard S's. This is for the overall high frequencies of vocal. In vocals, the high frequencies get out of whack when you compress it like I did. I ran through 2 compressors. So the high frequencies, like in general, whether they're compressed or not, are going to be a little out of whack. And so what you can set this up to do is do the all around thing, and then split band. I saw on Pensado's place. He uses the split band here. I don't know what this does at all, but anyway, when you have this on all around mode, basically this de-esser acts as a compressor for the highest frequencies of the vocal. So what that basically means is, now this is going to tame the high frequencies for you that you couldn't otherwise tame with an EQ or compressor, because those are less specific to the movement of the high frequencies in that vocal. Where this one, like the de-esser, only keys in on the high frequencies. So I think it's just an excellent tool in that case.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
So look at that. It's already like, I barely moved this threshold, and it's already telling me like, okay, your entire vocal basically has all this untamed high frequency.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
And it cleans it up, and it makes it sound very, very smooth. So a couple more plugins to go. I like to use delay. Always do delay first and then reverb after the delay. If you do reverb first and then delay, then your delay won't be audible at all. I like to use the H delay from Waves because it's the best delay plugin I think in the world. It's better than Logic's because it has a better ping pong and more rate of speed options, and that's always comes in handy for me.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the...
Oh, wait a second. I don't actually think I used delay in the verse in this one because it sounded cool with an empty space. So let's try that. For vocals, like, depending on the song, I actually don't use my heavy vintage reverb, Valhalla Vintage Room anymore, because it was a little too heavy for the vocals. I like to use Chroma reverb because it's very light, and it's not fancy. Nothing fancy. It's just a really, really super light reverb. And with vocals, that's good because the less you could have interfering with your core sample, the better you're going to sound.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied.
So I'm hearing like a little bit of popping when her mouth comes together, and that's not really anything I could edit out. That's more of like a recording fault. So whenever you hear
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September.
Yeah, so like right down here. Oh shit. Actually, I forgot to do something. I saw the EQ and I had thought like we already EQ'd, but we didn't. So this is important. So now that we added reverb, we got to go back to EQing. Damn. If you guys are still watching this, props to you. Because I totally missed this EQ. And if people thought I was done after the chroma, oh, they're going to miss out on this. This is like the most important thing. When you're EQing these,
he's trying to meet me on the east side.
You want to rid those low frequencies.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
And see how it's kind of powerful right here, but then it kind of like tapers away. That's a very common thing I notice with vocals. They're very big here. I don't know if it's because of the mic I use, which it shouldn't be. That should be very standard because I use a higher quality mic and preamp. So being that like this is a common occurrence every time I record vocals, what I like to do,
he's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship.
Is I like to press down like that. So where I learned this, I was listening to Post Malone's Rockstar, and those vocals are very, very light in the midsection here. But they kind of soar through the entire mix, and they're not heavy whatsoever, like in this area. So I started dipping this area to kind of enhance what's going on up here without having to boost up here. And so I got like this really crisp, clean sound.
He's trying to meet me on the east side.
And you can see the vocals are hotter here. So if you can press down on where they're hot to become more even with what's going on up here, you're going to get a flatter, fresher sound all the way through.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship.
But yeah, what I was talking about, like when you get a lot of popping, like anytime like there's a P sound or an S sound and it sounds like the vocal is literally popping, or it's like punching the microphone, it's because your vocalist is too close to the microphone. I like to have the vocalist sing from 10 inches away, maybe 10, probably 7 to 10 inches away from the microphone total. And then you get like the cleanest possible sound.
He's trying to meet me on the east side. Back in September, that's where we lied. Talked about the relationship. Don't know if it's gonna go anywhere from here.
So yeah, there you go, guys. That's how I like to edit vocals. That makes them clean, makes them nice and professional sounding. This will take you a while to master and understand everything that you're doing here, why you're doing these things. And when you do start catching on to why you do these certain things, then you'll start getting creative with it. And when you can start getting creative with it and stop worrying about sounding professional, then your vocals will literally rise to the top, and you'll be doing crazy shit, especially when it comes to layering vocals. When you edit them correctly, your life is going to change. Can't wait till you cross that bridge. But there you go, guys. My name's Alex Room. My website is alexroomsound.com. Go check it out. Go check out my lessons, my courses, and my sound banks. Subscribe to this channel if you're new here. Turn on the little notification bell by clicking it. Comment your thoughts in the comment section below and give me a thumbs up. Peace out, guys.